In today's video, we're going back to 1984, when rock music was starting to flex a little. The underground is getting heavier and the mainstream is getting bigger, and MTV is turning bands into full-blown characters. It's not subtle at all. The guitars are louder, the hooks are bigger, and everything feels like it's aiming for the back row. This is the year where hard rock and metal don't just exist, they take over the whole room. Let's go over the top 10 hard rock albums of 1984. Twisted Sister, Stay Hungry. This album is praised for its sheer, unadulterated defiance. It's the sound of a band that spent a decade in the clubs finally kicking down the door. The standout track is We're Not Gonna Take It, a massive fist-pumping anthem that became the definitive protest song for a generation of bored teenagers. However, the backlash was less about the music and more about the satanic panic of the era. Dee Snider became a primary target of the PMRC, Parents Music Resource Center, with critics dismissing the band as a bad influence and a cartoonish threat to suburban morality. Queensryche, The Warning. Praised for bringing a sense of intellectualism to the genre, this album showed that metal could be technical, soaring, and serious all at once. The standout track is Take Hold of the Flame, showcasing Jeff Tate's incredible vocal range. While the musicianship was lauded, the backlash came from some quarters of the metal press who found the band too cold or overly dramatic at a time when rock was about partying. Queensryche's operatic gravity felt a bit alien to fans just looking for a good time. Whitesnake, Slide It In. This is widely praised as the perfect bridge between David Coverdale's blues rock roots and the high-gloss arena metal that would make him a superstar. The standout track is Love Ain't No Stranger, which balances moody atmosphere with a heavy driving chorus. The friction here was internal and stylistic. Purists of the band's earlier, earthier sound felt the 1984 US remix of the album was too slicked up and corporate, accusing Coverdale of chasing the American market at the expense of his soul. Rat, Out of the Cellar. This album is the blueprint for the LA glam scene, praised for its tight, greasy guitar work and undeniable pop sensibilities. Round and Round is the standout, featuring a hook that remains impossible to dislodge from your brain 40 years later. The backlash, however, centered on the perception of style over substance. More traditional metal fans dismissed Rat as hairspray heroes, arguing that their focus on MTV aesthetics and fashion made them a shallow version of the real heavy metal coming out of Europe. Scorpions, Love at First Sting. Hailed as the peak of German arena rock, this album is a masterclass in professional precision and melodic power. The standout song was Rock You Like a Hurricane, a song that basically defines the energy of 1984. Despite the massive hits, the band faced some heat for their blatant commercialism. Critics noted that the band had moved far away from their experimental psychedelic 70s roots to become a hit machine, leading some longtime fans to feel the Scorpions had become a bit too safe for the radio. Judas Priest, Defenders of the Faith. This album is praised for its uncompromising metalness. It didn't try to be a pop record, it tried to be the loudest thing in your collection. Free Will Burning stands out as a high-speed masterclass in Rob Halford's rapid-fire delivery. The only real negative was that it was seen by some as Screaming for Vengeance Part 2. Critics argued that the band was playing it safe by sticking to a winning formula rather than evolving, leading to accusations that Priest was becoming predictable. Dio, The Last in Line. Ronnie James Dio was praised for his ability to make high fantasy themes feel grounded and powerful rather than campy. The title track, The Last in Line, is the standout here, building from a haunting intro into a thunderous epic. The primary backlash came from religious groups who misinterpreted Dio's use of demonic imagery, like the mascot Murray, as literal devil worship. Meanwhile, some music critics began to tire of his Dragons and Dungeons lyrical tropes, calling them repetitive and out of touch with the grid of the mid-80s. Iron Maiden, Power Slave. Maiden was praised for their sheer musical ambition, proving they were the most sophisticated band in the new wave of British heavy metal. The standout song is 2 Minutes to Midnight, a blistering commentary on the Cold War that remains a live staple. The only negative was that the album's complexity, specifically the 13-minute Rime of the Ancient Mariner, was seen by some as too pretentious. It was an album that demanded your full attention, which was a big ask in an era of 3-minute MTV hits. Van Halen, 1984. This album is praised for being the moment that Van Halen became the biggest band in the world by successfully marrying Eddie's guitar wizardry with synthesizers. The standout song is Jump, featuring that iconic, unavoidable keyboard riff. This led to a massive backlash from guitar purists. Fans who worship at the altar of Eruption felt that Eddie using a synthesizer was a betrayal of the instrument that made him famous. To some, it was the moment the world's greatest guitar hero went pop. Metallica, Ride the Lightning. This record is praised for being the big bang of modern metal, adding acoustic guitars, complex arrangements, and deep themes to the speed of thrash. Standout song is For Whom the Bell Tolls, a brooding, heavy masterpiece. Ironically, the biggest backlash came from Metallica's own diehard fans. When the ballad Fade to Black was released, the thrash underground famously labeled them sellouts for using acoustic guitars, proving that even in 1984, the metal community was fiercely protective of its boundaries. What makes 1984 interesting isn't just the quality, it's the split. You've got bands getting bigger and cleaner and more accessible at the same time others are getting heavier and more serious. It's not just one direction, it's two, pulling away from each other. And for a little while, both sides were winning. In my opinion, the 1980s was an incredible time for hard rock and heavy metal. Say what you will about what glam rock turned into in the late 80s and early 90s, but I'm talking about the pioneers. These are some of the best albums ever made. Do you think I missed any of them? Do you agree with this list? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.